Hey everyone, welcome back in. BetSports Golf here for a little Masters recap, a little 2025 RBC Heritage, maybe some Corrales Punta. We got a pretty big slate of stuff. First, I'm going to check in with our in-house Rory Hader, take his temperature today, see how he's doing. Andy, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I talked about this with Drew. I read a tweet before the Masters. Somebody had posited that they can use the sub-air to cheat, and then they can suck balls to the pin. Said there's no way Tiger's chip would have ever gone, and he's like, watch it. At the last minute, it takes this weird turn. Obviously just rubbish. just garbage internet. But then as Justin Rose's ball did not move towards the pin on the playoff, that tweet went back into my mind. I'm like, oh no, they sub-aired him. They reversed the sub-air and they.
This is below you, by the way.
No, I'm not saying that's real.
I know.
I'm just. It's funny. I'm not saying that actually happened. I do not buy into this conspiracy theory. I'm just saying. Though. I felt bad because it came into my brain when his ball didn't move. No, congrats. I mean, even someone who hates his stupid, smug little fucking face with his dumb hard nipples and his aw shucks attitude. I mean, even me hating his guts, it was still a chills moment. Like I've never, when's the last time someone got their fourth? This is the second in our lifetime.
Right. That's the thing, right? Like, six of them.
You're seeing history. It was still very cool to see.
Yeah.
And I said this to Drew too. In Rory fashion, he choked it away. Like even his wins, he had to put his little signature choke putt. Because that's wild. That's wild what he did on 18 the first time through. But good Masters. I ranked him too. I said that it's up there with we talked about this the other day, you mean Ron. It's up there with the Tiger wins, 97, 19 in this one. Yeah. I don't know what my fourth one would be. Because someone else did like a Mount Rushmore. And I'm like, and his was like
VR? Did VR
no. There would be 10 Masters. He can't count to 4. I think it was like Trey Wingo. Somebody big. Okay. And theirs was like Nicholas 85. It's like, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little older than you. I was 6 for that, or like 5, almost 6. So then, like not wasn't.
I don't know what my fourth one would be. Honestly, the Sergio one with Rose losing again was fun.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
The 96 one
was okay.
I remember you. I don't know if you remember 96. Because again, you're just in high school. I'm in high school. We're old, but 96 was the Faldo Norman collapse. Faldo one. That was the one before the Tiger debut, which is the one that you're talking about there. The Tiger 2001, right? Like closing the Tiger Slam.
That's a banger too. Yeah.
But it was so like he was just so dominant. Like I think he went off.
It wasn't like a good tournament.
2. Yeah. Like he was just such a machine at that point. So it wasn't like a thrilling tournament. That's why I think tip to tails, this might have been the best. Because like we just had it was just drama filled right away. Like even on Thursday with Rory, we get off to such a hot start, and it's like, okay, he's up for the task this week. This is going to be this is interesting. And then you get 15, right? And then we get the doubles. So the whole thing felt like it was a tense week. So I thought it was fantastic.
2018, Patrick Reed kept getting in trouble off the tee, and just nevertheless, like he would just find his way out of it. He really grinded. There was a lot of moments there where it's like, oh, he's done. Like that's a bad one, and it's like, nope, he's fine. It's Patrick Reed just grinding his ass off, and that one was fun.
Yeah, shout in the chat 2012 with Louis. Yeah, that was a good one. There's another, Bubba playoffs were always exciting. Bubba going, into the woods in the playoffs, and then
was that Ted? Was that Ted on the bag then too?
Yeah. Shout out to ESPN. They were running like all sorts of like old school ESPN Sports Center commercials. So you got like the, get Bubba in there and some, old school Ted Scott, trying to go around the tree.
I like how they made the same commercial twice with Brooks and Jordan.
Yeah.
The caddy and the silverware. Yeah. I mean, they mixed it up quite a bit, but it'd have been funnier for like golf hardos if he ignored Greller. Like, nah, give me the fork. And Greller just like has to make that face like, all right, Jordan, it's okay. I'm okay with this.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, it was great. I've never been that. I wouldn't say like I'm a Rory guy, but I'm definitely pro Rory. I'm not anti Rory, where you've had an anti Rory stance. So I just thought it was we were watching history. We're watching something that's very, very rare. And for someone that I like his authenticity, right? He might be a twerp sometimes and say some stuff where you're like, just kind of shut up. But I love the fact that we don't get cookie cutter answers. I love the transparency of, this is all I care about at this point. I just want a Masters and I want more Ryder Cup wins. And for him to be able to get that was just
getting that, Jesus. Looking at that team right now, we were stacking up with Bethpage. There's probably odds right now, and maybe I'm way
plus
off
money
base,
on Euros.
But Euros minus 150 right now. I would price it.
Well, yeah, it's not. It's plus something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just because we're at home?
Yeah.
Oh God, like that team is just tipped from the top down. I mean, just their top three, even right now, like Rory's playing better than Scheffler, and Hebert's playing better than anybody else on our side, and Hovland is playing pretty good golf. Like that's all they need is for him to round into form now. Hatton's playing really good golf. Oh man, and they have a better captain.
On FanDuel right now,
our captain's fucking at Dunkin' Donuts.
Watch it.
Theirs is in the lab.
Currently on FanDuel, it's Euros plus 130.
That's a terrible price. Pick him at worst.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it has gotten shorter. I believe it was like 150, recently. So, yeah, that's going to be very exciting. But that team is obviously
the Arnold Palmer one is one of the best.
Great. Yeah,
of all the Sports Center commercials, even non-golf ones, it's that one. And then I like the Penguin and Devil, the NHL mascots messing with the thermostat.
Yeah, that's good.
I like the really simple ones where there's not much going on. The Oregon duck looking out the window, like longingly, a pensive sigh. Some of the real simple ones really kill me. John Rahm just being like, I'll take a drop. Yeah, I didn't have the sound on for the Fowler one the first like 3 times I saw it, and I didn't remember it. And finally, like the next time it came on, I had to like get the sound. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
So finally I got that one. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I just don't know what the next great, people have written a lot of pieces obviously on this. I don't know what the next great story like this is. Like we don't really have something set up for us as clean, for this next type of, great golf story. And to your point,
in our lifetime, one of the young guns winning their first major, I think. It's Hebert or Hovland, one of those guys from that class getting into the winner's circle at a big boy course.
Yeah. But it doesn't touch Rory.
No,
this
was like we said, it's happened 6 times. We might never, you don't know. We might never see it again.
Yeah. And 6 times, and like 3 of them technically, like, I don't even think they didn't even know what happened really. Right. It wasn't even really considered that at that point. Like, it was back in the 30s, it was, the amateur tournaments were the big ones, right? It wasn't as clean as, these are the 4 events that are like the majors. It wasn't classified like that, right? It wasn't until, you had a Player and Jack go back to back to get theirs and close. And then we didn't have another one till Tiger, right? And now we wait for, I guess, it's in terms of guys that have multiple number one varying ones. It's Spieth.
Steve Irwin tackling the gator. Sorry. That's pretty good.
Spieth and Brooks. I guess Rahm.
Spieth getting back into the winner's circle at like a major. Even Spieth like winning the Players or a big event. That's a fun one. I can cheer for that. I've always cheered for him.
Yeah.
I guess, like Brooks, Bryson, Colin, one of those guys getting a step closer to a career slam. Although I just don't know if I can ever. I take some of those, like Brooks at Augusta's a tough look right now.
Brooks is a tough look right now. Xander obviously had 2 last year, so you know he can move forward. Rom with a U.S. Open and a Masters, so there are some guys that could be close. I mean, Spieth can close it, but it just doesn't.
It just doesn't feel like a thing that's ever going to happen.
Plus, we don't have the weight of Rory being so transparent. It was a 10, almost 11-year major drought on top of all these, scars at Augusta specifically. So
yeah, well, it wasn't just I'm missing this one jacket. I'm winning the U.S. Open every 3 years, though, or I'm winning the Open. Like it was 2014 last time he won a major. Yeah, and it's been a lot of heartbreaking between that. So yeah, probably it's a top 3 for me. It was awesome. It delivered. It's not Punta Cana, but it'll do, and it was great. Loved every minute of the app, every minute of the coverage. It was so awesome. All the fun stories. I read somewhere just now on Twitter that Schefter was there and somebody like messed with him. Like some kid ran at him and be like, "Oh my God, did you hear about the trade?" Like the blood has to drain from his body. Like that's nightmare land.
That's not fair. Yeah.
He almost has to have like a proxy sitting there. Like he has to hire I don't know, his wife or somebody he trusts to like monitor his phone and be like, here's the format for tweeting these out when the agent pays you to tweet this out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not even the shitty ones like that. It's like, what if you do miss something big?
What if they,
Cousins signed, Rogers signed, and you don't tweet it out?
Yeah, 9 days out of the draft. Like plenty of news can be coming down.
Like that. That's the thing with Woj, getting way off topic. It has to feel like such a relief. Like who has a bigger sigh of relief? Rory getting this or Woj just not having to monitor his phone? The guy monitored his phone like 24/7 for 2 decades. It's a lot.
It'd be hard to turn that switch off.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to just like go cold turkey. Just like throw your phone in the ocean. Just don't let you get a new phone in like a week. Just take like a hard reset. That has to feel weird. Even when I'm on vacation, I have trouble not checking scores and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Not even a vacation. I'm out of my office. I'm hanging out with the family. So, all right. Rory not here. RBC Heritage, Harbour Town, bastardized because, it doesn't necessarily need a signature event, though I think it's a course that should be here. But again, yeah, it's tough. No Rory, no Decky, 72-man field, no cut, signature event. So tough week to handicap. Scotty, your defending champ, which Scotty, the defending champ here is like, I don't know. It's just so wild his year last year. We weren't even sure he was going to be in this field because we were concerned that he might get like it was baby watch at the Masters, even when he was like, hey, if I get Meredith goes into labor Saturday night and I'm leading, I'm out. So we were like, oh, well, he might not even be in this one. And he just goes and wins at Harbour Town, which is just like such an alpha move.
And then they had the baby and then he missed a month and
came back and won again at Highlands. Yeah, TPC Highlands. So yeah, I mean, he's obviously again, he played his, I think you would say maybe B- game, and there was still 3 shots off the lead. Which again, like we continue to say that every week for him. At some point, maybe he puts it all together. But he is obviously the top of the board here. Colin, Xander, Ludwig, strong field, obviously. And that's where you're going to get a signature event. No miscut, 4 rounds played. I don't think we're going to go very long on Punta Cana, but in terms of Harbour Town in the demand, it is a Pete Dye, less than driver, force layups in terms of what you need to do off the tee. You got to keep yourself in play. Fairway is super important, but not even just fairway, but like the right side of the fairway, because there are like these low hanging palmetto trees where, you can have a obstructed view into the green, even though you are, in the fairway, right? So it is, really controlling your golf ball off the tee. Super duper small greens. That matters a ton, short, rough, but like it is a spot where you can, again, just be in the first cut and be kind of dead, having a, hit a very, very unique shot from a second shot standpoint. So very difficult to gain greens and reg. Scrambling matters a lot, but it's a very easy place to scramble because we do have smaller greens, but kind of flat greens. So it's a kind of, you need the whole bag. But one of these spots where historically we would really see long shots win, right? You would see down the board accuracy, ball in a string kind of guys win versus the top of the board. Now the kind of calculus changes here with it being a signature event because you're just getting guys that typically wouldn't tee it up here historically. But in terms of the elite, Scotty is that guy. That's why it makes sense that he, ran away here. But I think it's a good week to look at corollary courses as well, because I think there's a few spots that are similar, whether they're die tracks or some other tracks that kind of force you to, kind of shoot your second shot from the same place. And then, how do you do from there in terms of it kind of dictating. But any other course highlights that you want to mention?
Yeah, it almost does feel like a couple weeks ago where there's definitely maybe not to the point of like, hey, we need a bomber like Minwoo and you have to bet him. He's such a fit here because there's a class of golfer here like the Scotties who just can win based on being that much better at everything.
Correct.
But yeah, it's accuracy off the tee, but it's not how we'd model it, where it's like even distance from the edge of the fairway, that we sometimes use to make it less binary. I don't think that helps us as much here. You got to dig a little deeper to figure out who's played well here, who can play well here. And I think it's looking at comp courses, looking at courses, maybe less than driver courses, because a lot of less than driver courses are by nature positional courses where, you're not just trying to take away the danger. You're trying to hit a more accurate tee shot to a specific spot playing station to station golf. It's course history. I hate course history. I've never been a course history guy. I'm going to use it a little bit here this week because guys who've done well here have done well here repeatedly. Go look at Patrick Cantlay. Doesn't win, but just top 5 every year somehow. There is a spot where you just get this course. You get Pete Dye courses. You understand how to play this sort of thing because driving accuracy, like you said, in and of itself is just, did you hit the fairway or not? And you could hit 15, probably not 15 because of the par threes. You can hit 14 fairways and, be in bad position in 10 of them where you don't have a good approach shot. So
correct.
I'm going to look at some of those things for off the tee. And then approach is kind of just, let's look at small green approach. Let's look at accuracy from, overall efficiency on wedges, short stuff, middling irons too, because you are going to take less than driver a lot here. And, despite the length of the course, it's going to be a little longer than maybe it would be on a normal course of this length. So definitely, proximity numbers on short courses, on small greens.
Yeah.
Greens and regulation numbers on small greens. And maybe even just around the green and scrambling, even in spots where it's easy.
Yeah.
So it felt like this was one where I come into this week and I have a pretty good formula. It's still going to say Scotty's at the top. It's probably going to have Cantlay up there pretty high too. I haven't built the model out, but the model's up here.
You got it. Sounds like you're swimming in the right side of the pool. I mean, it's short course, but it's not a lot of like wedge from like a sub 150 range that, most of the are, 150 to 200 because of the force layups. So that matters a ton as well. And as I mentioned, like, small greens, they're fewer of. I think also you can do both ways. I think also like when it's hard to gain a green in regulation, when you turn the difficult setting up to 100, you see who's kind of fared well there as well. So Rich in the chat wants to know about one and done this week. Last week was an interesting one and done week. He wants to use Scotty Bullet this week. Is it possible he's second in his 50-man field? I don't think it's a Scotty week. Andy, do you think it's a Scotty week at all?
I don't hate it because it's a big purse.
Yeah. Only reason I say I don't think it's a Scotty week is just because it is a no-cut signature event week, and you're going to get money either way. And it's a big one, but it's a spot where, like, again, you're going to continue to have spots where Scotty fits, and you're going to have other big prize pool weeks for Scotty. Even in signature events that end up being a cut, like Memorial. Again, another spot where he won last year. That is going to be a strong field. It's a signature event, but does have a cut. where there could be some people in your 50-man one and done, or even your, whatever 10,000-man one and done, that are going to play someone that doesn't make the cut. So you just have some natural leverage with people getting 0 that week. Everyone's getting some money this week. So I think you make it a non-Scotty week, in my opinion, because there are going to be better spots to use him. And either way, you're going to get some money home this week. So, every week is a good Scotty week for the most part, because he's obviously, was he 3 plus 350, very viable to win. But in my opinion, in a no cut signature event, I'd rather go elsewhere. That was my only reason.
Leading, since he's leading, I hate it less, because there's not that many more. You have, the US Open, you have the Memorial, you have the Truist, the Travelers, and then the 2 playoff events, the Open and the PGA Championship. Those are your big purses. You have 8 big purses left. So I think it's between those and here. So you have 9 spots where he fits. To your point, there's probably better spots to use him. This is the last no cut, right? Or Memorial's a cut event. So the 3 no cut ones are the hosted. It's Arnie, Jack, Tiger.
Yep.
So
Truist, River Highlands are signature events with a cut.
Yep.
So
I don't know if I use them at River Highlands.
I won last year.
I know, but I have other people I like. They're better. So
for sure, that's the whole point, right?
And truthfully, if you like his fit for the U.S. Open, it's negligible, but that's a bigger purse than all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That is the second biggest purse compared to. It's bigger than the other 3 majors. Like if you think he's viable at all of them and you like him there, that's a good one to squeeze him out at. And it depends on your plan on what you're doing with live golfers. The other 3 majors, if you're going all live, then there's only 6 events really to use him at. And if you want to use somebody else at River Highlands, somebody else at Memorial, honestly, it's here or Memorial for me. It's either, in my mind, because I have him still available, it's here, it's Memorial, or it's the BMW in Maryland.
Caves
Valley.
Yeah, I would use him at Memorial, just for the sake, the cut part. Like, where are you going to use Patrick Cantlay? You're probably not going to use
Patrick. Yeah, I'm finishing my one and done article now. Patrick Cantlay's list. Like, every week we run into this guy. It's like, Patrick Cantlay is a top 15 golfer. I don't want to use him this week. I don't want to bet him. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to know him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to be heavily owned this week. I don't care. I'm probably gonna have a good hard look at him this week.
Yeah.
So,
the 50-man with Rich's spot being second, it's okay, I think, to eat a little chalk there and to save Scotty. I can't imagine that many people have Scotty left too. So if you can go into Memorial and have him, I think that's also an advantage that week as well, because people are want to use him. They're going to want to use him in a major. Just kind of saving him there strategically might make some sense. So, Cantlay feels like a great one and done. Again, would have been an interesting bet, but again, the prices are, pretty tough. Before we jump into it, I want to remind folks, like, you got to take advantage of this deal if you haven't. With our friends over at BetMGM, if you are in a state that has access to BetMGM, take advantage. Use promo code BetSportsGolf. There are links here in the description on the article that I'm showing here on the YouTube page. If you're listening in a podcast form, betsportsgolf.com, you'll see the MGM article at the top of the page. Simply deposit and bet $10 with the promo code BetSportsGolf, and you will get an email within 48 hours, I think even less, to get access to the site for free. No additional charge. BetSports Golf subscription, including the rabbit hole, all the articles, Discord, all the picks, etc., locked in for no additional charge for a full calendar year. So, do it now and you'll get all the way through next year's Masters for just the $10. Obviously, they have a bonus deposit match up to $1,500. So, if you have access and you want to get down, they pay ties in full for they've got a good golf menu while you have a clean account over there. So take advantage of that. Great way to do it. Again, simple article here on the site to take advantage of it. If you are not in a state that has legal betting or not an MGM state, our friends over at Drafters have a deal similar, $10 deposit play on Drafters. If you want to, do some NFL best ball, they have pick'em games, they have golf 4-man drafts, a lot of cool stuff over there as well. Also available in every Canadian province. So if you're in Nova Scotia and you want to bang some NFL best ball draft, $10 deposit and play over at Drafters. Same thing. You get an email 48 hours later. Their first deposit match you up to $100. Promo code there is BSG. You can use the link as well. And get access for 90 days. So not a full year, but just a 90 days, take you through the rest of the major season. Take advantage of those great deals that we have for you to get access to all that we're doing here in the Rabbit Hole and Bet Sports Golf. All right.
Yeah, and that's current customers too. If you want to go, if you're already paying, if you have a yearly sub, and you want to go, you don't have an MGM account, your wife doesn't have an MGM account, go sign up, make a $10 bet, let it settle, you get an email. We'll figure it out. We'll just add a year to your sub. I mean, everything helps. If you taking advantage of this helps support us, helps get money into the dev, helps us continue to improve the tools. That said, you know what else puts money in our pocket? Hitting some outrights. I didn't have a Rory ticket this week. Weird.
My wife did. So that was, I actually kind of forgot about it. I really did forget. Like I had her sign up for Bet365 just went live, and free $150 risk-free bet, and she rolled with Rory. So I will not see a dime of that money, but it felt like something to celebrate after the fact too. So good for her. She's cashed it out already. So she's, they Bet365 is down bad with my wife. So that's what he's talking about.
She's already promo banned at Bet365.
Yep.
Good job.
Net winner, cashed out.
Yeah, I didn't have a great betting week. I'm quickly pissing away my Minwoo money. Basically all I got home was a few props. The last putt being under 3 feet. That was a fun one from Bet Online.
Nice.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, I'm betting that. It's such a lag putting event, I'll take that.
I had a good Davis.
I was a little nervous he was going to make that, 4.5, 5 footer. Like, I can't have this. He's got to miss this. I need a playoff.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had a final score under 2, whatever it was. I guess it was -11 or worse.
Yeah, it's 264.5 or something like that.
I would have lost by the hook if he had won in regulation.
Yeah.
So kind of needed it.
So he came through for you. I had my only real sweat hang of the weekend besides some different props were, Davis Riley low debutante at 25-1. He lost by a shot that Matt McCarty chip in on the fly. Cost me a nice little chunk of change. So Davis Riley's going to win somewhere. He's figured something out. He's playing some pretty good golf. So, all right. You did not. Have you made any bets? You said you did not make a model. Have you made any bets?
No model yet. No bets.
Okay.
Obviously, I love a few guys. Some of the prices aren't, great.
No cut Siggies are pretty tough. All right. So you mentioned, what do you want to do? I mean, do you want to make a model? You want to look at a model? What do you want to?
Let's take a look. There's a bunch up. There's some interesting ones up already.
Yeah. Dealer's choice. What do you want to look at?
You pick one. They're all
and if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not on podcasts, we have an expert report section. A lot of other folks that are doing tremendous golf content out there use the Rabbit Hole and share their models for you to look at. So many folks, different podcasts, different articles, different websites, lots of great, smart folks in the betting space using the Rabbit Hole and, a feature that turns those models live for you to look. So again, if you don't, the data is intimidating. You just want to get a sense of wisdom of the crowd, who's at the top of a bunch of models. Is there a long shot that's a little bit higher? You can use a lot of different folks' looks here. Let's look at, let's see here. We got a lot of newer ones. Let's take a look at Andy Lack's model here at Harbour Town. Inside Sports Network, Inside Golf Podcast. Follow Andy on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast. Great content from Andy and his team over there. His second run through, so his updated heritage model has Scotty Scheffler on the top, Russell Henley second, Colin Morikawa third, Tommy Fleetwood fourth, Justin Thomas fifth, Shane Lowry 6, Cantley 7, Sepp Straka 8, Bud Cauley 9, and Corey Connors.
He loves Bud Cauley. I can't blame him. What's Bud Cauley done wrong? He wasn't in the field last week. He didn't have enough time to.
Yeah, Andy typically does I would say a bigger model in terms of like the amount of stats in compared to typically, I know compared to what Andy would like to do, typically what we usually do, Andy has a lot more inputs. And again, that's the beauty of it. And the beauty of, I think you would see going through other folks' models to just see, again, you can build the same model with the same inputs and weigh them differently too, right? So it's like you can land on so many different outcomes in terms of what you prioritize in terms of the stats this week. So Scott, Russ, Colin, not super surprising at the top. Are you considering chasing Colin after backing him last week? Numbers a little shorter, obviously around 11 for the most part. But I know that was your top of the board play last week. You Martin Gailing, Colin Morikawa.
I don't think so. Not at like 10-1. It's Scotty. It's tough to bet him at 4.5. It's very tough to bet Colin at 10 or under. It's gotten some love in the market. It's a good fit. He played okay.
Sure.
It's just it's a tough number, especially when you get Xander. If you want Colin for 980, you can get Xander for 17. You get Cantlay for 20, Abear for 17. Like I think I am going to be grabbing one or two guys near the top of the board and then looking a little further down for somebody with some value, but it's not going to be Scotty or Colin at these prices.
Yeah, those Chris numbers are comfortably best in market for all the guys that you just spoke of. Colin's shorter. A lot of domestics have 11 on Colin, but Xander, Cantlay, Ludwig, those are all significantly better numbers, to be honest. Like, those guys are all, Ludwig and Xander are 12 basically everywhere. A couple shops that have maybe a 14 on Xander. Cantlay out to 20 in a few spots now, but he was sitting at like 14, 16 most of the day.
Yeah, his course history here was always going to drive the price. He's like top five finishes. Abear is probably an avoid for me, just going from the top two. This course doesn't exactly neuter distance, but it does.
It does
a little bit. Like, it's not the best fit. He's still a very good irons player. Played 71 pretty good holes last week. That was something. The bigger Calcutta, Drew took a piece of some action. I think that last hole was like a $70,000 swing in the Calcutta on Mr. Abear. I mean, it's same thing. I mean, that's what happens in golf Calcuttas. You have huge swings on big plays. Same thing with Reed holing out. That was a massive leverage for several people. The whole leaderboard moves around, but avoiding him, looking at Xander, another one I backed last week, looking at Patrick, even though he's going to be popular at 20. And then obviously Corey Connors 25 and Henley 28. Those are some other, good to great irons players that are probably going to play well here. I don't know what to do with Justin Thomas. I don't know if you have thoughts on him.
I didn't consider him here. I feel like he probably should be in consideration here. I don't think he modeled particularly well for me. Let's take a look. Does he come here often? I mean, obviously it's different, but I don't think he had been coming here in the past. Let's see if we can see if JT. It's not a super sticky course history place, but I agree with what you're saying. Like overall, part of it's just where it was in the schedule. It was a spot for top of the board guys to skip. We do have Masters data now loaded in here, so you can get a sense of his form. Ball striking's down a little bit. I mean, look, if he's not gaining on approach, and I don't want to overrate the Masters. Sometimes it can be tough golf courses are challenging. He's putted well the last 3 weeks, which is or 3 events, which is interesting to see for him. It's not typically his MO of late. Maybe new caddy. I'm interested to see what the caddy situation is with him. Let's see, RBC Heritage. All right, T5 last year, pretty solid, gained across the board. Did come here the last 2 years as well, T35, T25. Previous best stop was a T8 in the 2020. That was one that was basically like a major, right? We're coming out of COVID. It was the first stop back. Everyone was in that field basically. So That was a really strong field, RBC heritage. So yeah, I mean, you would think JT driver sometimes can be a little bit of an issue in terms of, the wayward miss, clubbing down can help him. And if the ball striking and approach game in particular are dialed, then that's obviously pretty nice. But to be honest, didn't consider him much. Did consider him a little bit last week, but it felt okay about it. But yeah, I mean, hey, if he's dialed in off the tee and keep himself in play, he's obviously got the rest of the game to make it work. See our price. What's your best price on JT? 20s. Yeah. So again, another spot where the Chris number almost 26 and change, way different than the domestics. Best is 20.
It's not always the best sign for a golfer when the
True.
book taking to win 50K is your long number. 1870. Yeah, they are. It's to win 50. Yeah, when the biggest limits are the best price, sometimes it's a bad sign. It's not, don't let it shape your bets always, but
yeah,
not somebody I've really looked at backing all that much this year. So yeah, at the top of the board, Xander Cantlay, Corey, Russell, kind of my guys. And then from there, JT Poston's had success here. His numbers beat up now at this point. A bunch of the early birds did take him.
Yeah. So that's another example.
Is Michael Kim in the field, or is he finally taking another week off?
No, he's in the field.
Guy just loves golfing.
The JT Poston thing, I'm not here to. We're talking about outright betting, so it's like I definitely am not going to talk anyone off of anyone, right? Anything can happen, but JT Poston's course history here is pretty awesome. And again, it's been in the signature event versions of it too. But for the most part, he's beaten up on the Stu Sinks of the world here historically, right? The Kisners of the world that were here all the time. Kuchar. He wasn't always doing this against Scotty, Xander, Colin, Ludwig. It's just a different type of field. So that would give me a little bit of pause with Poston, especially unless you got, top of market number early. I don't really feel like we should be chasing.
Yeah, 50-1 is probably tough at this point.
Yeah. Looks like there's 70s at FanDuel. If that's your thing, it's still, long enough. I like other guys in that range that I think are maybe a little bit better, but yeah, the Postman, that Carolina crew, it's had some success here. He's definitely in the mix. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at see again. We're gonna have Scotty at the top of absolutely everyone's stuff here. Let's look at our guy Vicenzi, Matt Vicenzi, Tap It In podcast, Sports Illustrated, Scotty, Morikawa, Henley, Cantlay, Berger. Not surprising. Berger also pretty popular so far. I think another Bud Cauley call out. JT, Connors, Sepp, and Harmon. John in the chat wants to know about Sepp. One and done pool. Looking at Harmon, Poston, or Straka. Any inputs? Maybe Sepp for me in that group. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think it's too big of an event to be using Poston.
Agreed.
Unless you're really chasing and you need to be the only guy, but I don't think you're probably not the only guy who uses.
That's the thing.
I think people are going to who need to get weird are going to get weird with him. And then it's not going to be that weird at all. Whereas like Harmon, it's a good course for him, shorter course. He's playing decent golf right now. And then Straka's a great fit. I think Straka's right in that range. If you want to go below the big names, I think he's about perfect.
Yep. I would go Straka there. So without knowing the rest of what you have available, again, don't fall in love with mapping it out, but I think you do have to think through, some of the bigger events moving forward and where you're going to be putting guys in terms of, those other spots. You'd hate to use a Poston and then you get to, late July, August, and you have, more good players than available events. And you'd be like, why did I use Poston there?
Well, and it's not just as simple as counting how many great players do you have left and how many events are left. They aren't playing in Detroit. They aren't playing in Minneapolis. Like let's say, hey, there's 17 events left. I think that's where we're at. And I have, this many good golfers that I need, guys I need to use, 15 of them. it's probably like you need to start using those names because you've got to figure out Detroit. You got to figure out the 3M. You got to figure out some of these, even Wyndham sometimes doesn't have a bunch of big names. So
Sure.
It's, remember that kind of, I hate doing it preseason because it feels like a wasted energy, but I think you can sit down and map out the rest of the year from now and just kind of give it a once over, see where you're at and be like, man, I got to the end and I left out a really good golfer. Like, hey, I got to here and I didn't use Xander somehow. Like I need to take one of these and upgrade it and realize what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it matters for sure. Think through a little bit. All right, this is the model that I built here. Scotty at the top, Colin second, Shane Lowry third. I really wanted to give a long, hard look at Lowry this week. Did not play well here last year. Had some other poor performances. He was so bad on Sunday. I can't even really fathom what happened there. I dropped from clear top 10 to 42nd. I lost, I think, 3 shots on the green and 4.5 on approach. Just absolutely cratered. Russ 4th, Corey Connors 5th, Sepp 6th, Aaron Rye 7, Tommy Fleetwood 8, Lucas Glover 9, and Ludwig at 10. Cantley just outside the top 10 there at 11. Xander, JT. There's our Bud Cauley. I do want to go over and show one of the things that I looked at this week. I'll run through it for you. Strokes gained total is 2025, so a little bit of recent form. Ball striking on short and very short golf courses. I took a look at tee to green with small greens. Also looked at ball striking less than driver off the tee last 2 years. Looking at a bigger sample there for those guys. Looked at greens and reg when it is difficult to gain around the green. I think that's really important. I did look at distance from the edge of the fairways we talked about. Looked at a couple different around the green things because I think they matter here. Around the green proximity. So just simply how close are you leaving the ball when you are chipping. Scrambling on the short grass, because we have more of that here around the greens than we do, thick, rough aprons. And then ball striking on corollary courses. I used Colonial, both Sea Island spots, Innisbrook, where we just were a couple of weeks ago, Walleye, and Sedgefield, which is the Wyndham Championship. So if you want to look at who performed best in corollary courses here over the last, I think was this 3 years? Last 3 years. Because again, some of these guys don't go to all these, right? So Scotty, Connors, Siwoo, Glover, Henley, Hovland, Aaron Rye, Colin Morikawa, Bud Cauley, JT Poston are your top 10 on the corollary courses this week. So I think it's a great list to pull from, to be honest, because I think these are, show you these guys that have played really well. When the ask is going to be very similar, right? These are a lot of positional golf courses off the tee, mid to long iron game, where that's really what matters the most, right? Positional golf, stationary, station to station golf. Who are the poor performers on the corollary courses? Mac Hughes, Joe Highsmith, Adam Hadwin, Matty Fitz, Carl's got, no sample. Max showed a pulse. Really cool for Max to seem like he was dead, like to have everyone betting Max to miss the cut, and for him to get it done was really cool. Wyndham Clark, Seabass lost right now. Those are your poor performers. Ricky, Denny, that's surprising. Curious to know if Ryan Gerard or Eric Cole appear in the top 30 or 40 of your model. I thought Ryan Gerard was going to perform well. I don't hate Ryan Gerard this week. Probably more of like a DraftKings play for me this week. Let me see where Gerard is in the model for me. He's playing really good golf.
You just type his name in.
Let me search Gerard. 28th. So not bad.
Yeah.
Yep. And look,
so he's inside the top 30. If
yep.
You're wondering. Where do you have Eric Cole?
Eric Cole has not been playing really well. 58th, further down.
Ball striking's been a little rough.
Yeah, better on the corollary courses, but this is dead last in difficult greens and reg on the last 2 years or so. So not a great Eric Cole. Yeah, Eric Cole. Bud Cauley, as Donnie's mentioned in there, good idea to look into more. The form is. We can look at it right here. Just been playing really good golf. hard to argue with the recent form. If you look at the, this page right here, I mean, look at the ball striking for the approach numbers. Last 12, last 24, putter's been white hot. I mean, this last 12 is really strong green. You can see the finishes. 5th at Valero, 4th at the Valspar. Again, corollary course, 6th at the Players. So 3 straight T6 or better, where he's, gained almost across the board, struggled, scrambling a little bit around the green at Valero. Even before that, was really kind of competitive to start the year. Walleye, corollary course, T30, showed a little pulse in Phoenix. Missed the cut at Puerto Rico, which is really surprising considering they probably could beat up on that field with his current form. But yeah, he's playing really good golf. Is Bud Cauley winning a signature event? It's a tough sell for me, right? So I think they're probably, finishing positions, maybe a matchup. DraftKings, he's a cost saver at $7,500.
He's a great top 20 bet. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if he's beating this field.
Right. He's going to have one of these guys in the mix. He just doesn't have those Sunday reps against, really tough. Yeah. Winner without markets, maybe, as Donnie shouted out. I mean, yeah, you can get a big chunk of those top guys and take them without. At that point, just make sure you price out what a top 5 with ties is or a top 10 with ties. Make sure that you're getting actual value in the winner without market versus just blindly taking that. But not a spot for me for a winner down the board. Even though you can't hard to argue with the form. All right, share my bets. I have made bets. Obviously, we're looking at the model that I made here. How in the world do we come here and not bet Russell Henley 25?
Yeah, I feel like bounce back week. I'm probably going to have him on my card. I'll be with, if Russell Henley wins and you bet him and I didn't, I'll walk into a lake. So he's a guy. He's a guy I've bet a lot. Obviously, I'm going to have him.
So Henley last week missed the cut on the number. It was all putting for the most. I mean, he actually was, I think, third on round 2 on Friday. I think he was third in strokes gained approach for the day. Had the third lowest score of the day at 4 under 68. Just wasn't enough. He couldn't make up for the fact that he just could not get near the hole on Thursday. So again, like just T20 or better in 3 of the last 4 times here. T to green has been awesome here. So top 10 in ball striking on short and very short courses, and top 10 in less than driver ball striking, which are 2 key metrics for me this week. So I took the plunge on Russ as the top of the board play for me as well. I also bet Vic at 35. Again, the around the green stuff is obviously a problem, but here it matters, but like it's easy to gain around the green. And he's actually way better on short grass around the green than some of the thicker stuff, which is weird. So
weird.
And he also
because not a lot of people trend that way.
Not a lot of people trend that way. So he's still not good, but he, it's just mitigated a little bit. And part of it is like the approach game has been really good. Even last week, he had some great rounds at the Masters from an approach standpoint. He's gained strokes and approach in 10 of the past 11. I think Innisbrook is a, decent corollary course. And obviously he won there very recently. So he was in the mix a little bit. Like him, like the number 35. Just feels like he's not getting any credit for the win a couple weeks ago. He's still kind of priced in that we don't trust you range. And I think less than driver is a good fit for him too. I think he's 6th in that when I looked at the modeling for less than driver over the last couple of years. So that was a spot that he kind of showed up at. So those are kind of my 2 top of the board plays. My down the board guys, I took a dive at Denny at 60. I mean, the short game is this is a guy that I don't think is scared of like the bigger guys. He just can be one of those guys that can be one of these old school Harbour Town winners. He just all of a sudden, gains 4.5 strokes per round around the green. And all of a sudden he's just in the mix because he's killing everyone with the putter. So, and everything else is better. He's just longer. The approach game's better. So, he's had some decent finishes here in the past. I took a stab at Denny. Davis Thompson at 75. Davis Thompson was had multiple rounds where he was top 5 in approach last week. And then just another guy who could not figure out how to putt I just like the form, 75 on Davis Thompson. And then Tom Hoagie. Hoagie, I watched a lot of Masters. I don't know that I saw Tom Hoagie hit a ball. And he finished top 14. and approach is dialed in first. So Hoagie also played really well, almost won at the Valero the week before. 100-1 on Hoagie. That's my 5-man card. Russ, Vic, Denny, Davis Thompson, and Tommy Tables, who's also not scared at the top of the board.
Newman on board with Henley with us.
Let's go, Scott.
Some Brian Campbell love. Makes more sense here than
Brian Campbell making the cut last week and being competitive was one
impressive.
of the more surprising things. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it didn't make sense, but he did well. To your Hovland point too. Like I get not trusting Hovland last week. You can trust him this week. I think you can trust him here. Donnie has some picks on Cauley. 50-1 on Cauley with no X, no Colin, no Scotty, no Luda. That's fun. Without markets. You just hope Patrick Cantlay doesn't get his shit right.
Yep.
And then one good final point here from Filipkowski. Ron Filipkowski. That's a hell of a name. Trying to decide between using Scheffler here at Memorial. He's talking about the factor of Rory's not here, though. Rory will be at Memorial. You get the added bonus of not having to, because it's one and done. It's not. Sure. It's not betting. You don't worry about, well, the price will reflect that Rory's in the field at Memorial. It doesn't work that way for one and done outside of ownership, obviously changing based on that. It does kind of tilt it a little bit, I think. That's a good point.
It's a fair point.
It will be this is a tough field. That will be tougher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, you can't go wrong, right? You're never like, that's the only thing you want to make sure is when you use Scotty, you get a solid, real solid week out of him. You're never going to go into an event thinking that this isn't going to be a good solid week for him, right? I happen to have the
punting with Scotty, hoping for top 20.
Yeah, I had the only bad Rory week of the year. I used Rory at Bay Hill, where he finished like T17. So that hurt. So what are you gonna do? I mean, he's been in the mix pretty much for everything else. So, so that's my card. Those are my guys this week. It's gonna be Russ Hundley, buddy. You're gonna get in the mix.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go price shopping. Dig in a little bit on some of these guys, but definitely, a few guys near the top. And honestly, that might be it. I might not have any long shots. I know it doesn't pay out as well, but honestly, my card might just be, Xander, Corey, Russell. Those are my boys. I go to war with them. I don't know. It's a tough week. Like I said, there's an easy blueprint, it feels like, but it's still a tough week because there's a lot of guys that match it. So, all right, you guys enjoy it. Have fun. We didn't get to any Punta Cana. You know what? Bonus newsletter this week. I'll do a Punta Cana specific one on Wednesday.
Rico.
Yeah, Rico Hoey. You know I love Rico Hoey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously betting Rico Hoey there. I mean, just outside of that, oh God, who else would even be there that I would look like? Alex Smalley's price is untenable. No. I can't bet Toasty 40-1, Hoey 30-1, Potgieter again on a resort course.
Matty Schmidt
40-1. Like there's some names that are interesting.
Yep, I'm gonna give one of my probably my Wednesday video that I do. If you're not following our Twitter account at BetSports Golf, pre-tournament, like to do a video every day, kind of talking about rabbit hole stuff, typically for the main event. I think I'm going to give the Wednesday video to Corrales. We'll see what we can kind of look at.
Punta Cana. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll check you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate all the questions.
Good questions this week.